Mm-hmm. You know what I'm interested in is the impact of all the, rehab dollars going to the state parks.
Yeah.
How many of their sites are gonna be closed while they're doing it? Because people are ready to camp.
Yep.
I'm ready to camp.
Yeah. Yeah, we used to love camping. Not anymore. My idea of camping is get over to that.
Yeah, and that's okay. You can glamp. You can glamp.
Yes, that's right. I've got a cousin that does that. They live out in, well, they live out in California, not far from Yosemite. And they've got a nice home.
Mm-hmm.
You're right near Yosemite.
Okay.
I can't think of the name of the town, but they let us stay there one time a few years ago.
Adela Piper.
Adela Piper.
Adela.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, yep.
Siren, that's the marketing.
That's,
Oh, okay.
Sorry. That
I
would
still
drive
need to
me
get together,
nuts
'cause
the rest of
I think she lives up here now.
I think, yeah. I've seen her quite a bit
Yeah.
around town.
Well, we have an agency, community action agency that was, designated by the Bureau.
All right, now, I've got a couple guesses, but
Okay, what's your guess?
Muskegon?
Yeah.
Oh, that has been an adventure for years. Because I remember that down in Ottawa.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jill's group.
Great, I think we're ready to get
Yes, she
started
is.
here.
Disturbed it.
Got 30 people in the chat, and can everybody hear me all right here in the live session? Great.
Sure.
Okay, perfect.
Jill Sutton.
All right, well, thanks for attending the first quarterly CEDS meeting of the year for the Central UP Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy. So I'm glad we're able to be here in person, and we're gonna try to make this option available for the rest of all the CEDS meetings. We're gonna be on a rotating schedule between here and the Escanaba location. So we're gonna get back to that, but there will always be the Zoom option. So a few things we're gonna go through today. We're gonna do a full introductions. We have a number of people here that are participating that are new to the CEDS and or haven't been here in a long time, so we're gonna get refamiliarized. We have guest speaker Tsupros, who is the Director of Programs and Partnerships at Partridge Creek Farm. And I'm going to be going through EDA investment programs and our CEDS document, and basically how to apply for those funding through the EDA. We're going to cover the CARES Act Recovery and Resiliency Program that we got supplemental funding for back in 2000. That program is still going on, and we're still developing resiliency strategies. We're also going to take a look at the 2022 meeting date schedule and confirm that. And then as time permits, we're going to be going through updates from partners. And so, there we go. All right, so this is the official CEDS committee. So this is the group that helped us develop the document, as well as a number of other people who are not listed here, but these are the regular attendees of CEDS. We're always accepting new membership to it too, so if you'd like to be included on it, I'd be happy to list your name on future iterations of the document. But first, here we're going to go through my favorite. All right, we're gonna go through introductions here, and first, are there any elected officials or elected official staff on the phone here? And if so, would you like to introduce yourselves?
Hello, oh, sorry, I'll turn the lights on. It's Jen Hill, City of Marquette. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, going once, going twice. All right, then we're gonna go through, introductions here in the room in person. So Amy, would you like to start?
Amy Berglund, Director of Business Initiatives with Invest UP.
Michelle LaJoy with Elder Marquette Community Action Agency.
Bill Raymond, Michigan Works.
Addie LaJoy, Executive Director of CEDS. Ben Tucker, MEDC Community Assistance Team.
Christopher Jermaine, MEDC Redevelopment Ready Communities.
All right, and next we're gonna go to the virtual audience. Is there anybody new to the CEDS, that hasn't attended meetings before or hasn't been here in the last 2 years?
I have not.
Okay, who am I speaking with?
Ron Miasso, City of Gladstone, DDA and EDC.
Oh, welcome, Ron. Glad to have you. Anybody
Hi,
else?
Hi, good morning. My name is Paul Oliva. I'm the program manager for recreation and lands on the Hiawatha National Forest. This is my first meeting.
Great to have you, Paul.
Bill DeGroot, Township Manager for Chocolate Township.
Hi, Bill.
Karen Kovacs is here for the City of Marquette.
Welcome, Karen.
Craig Cucini for the City of Ishpeming.
Hi, Craig.
Hey, Ryan, it's Adrian from the Department of Labor and Economic Opportunity.
Good to have you. We had a really good meeting with Director Corbin yesterday.
That's awesome.
This is May from Partridge Creek
Anybody
Farm.
else?
This is my first meeting, so I'm going to introduce
Hey.
myself. I'll see you all in a few minutes.
Thank you.
Hey Ryan, this is Ryan Diedrichsen. This is my first meeting, just kind of stepping in for Emily Leach.
Great, thank you, Ryan. Anybody else? Okay, I think that does it. And then we have economic partners on the phone. Would you introduce yourselves?
Hi, this is Ed Legault. I'm the Executive Director for the Delta County Economic Development Alliance.
Good morning,
Yes.
Lois.
Yes.
Good morning, Lois Ellis from the Dickinson Area Economic Development Alliance.
Yeah, and this is Kathy Reynolds from the Greater
Morning,
Munising
Lois.
Bay Partnership, the Munising DDA, and the Alger County Chamber.
Hi,
Mary Myers with
the Superior Community Partnership.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. It's Joe Teal from Innovate Marquette Smart Zone.
Joe.
Morning, Vicki Schwab, MEDC Business Development.
Glad to have you, Vicki.
Morning, everyone. It's Alex Kopsky with the Accelerate UP up here in Marquette County. And apologies, I was excited when Ryan, you sent the invite to be there in person. So I'll be at the next one in person. Good morning, everybody.
Okay, sounds like a plan.
Donna LaCourte, Michigan Department of Ag and Rural Development, Economic Community Development Specialist for the Upper Peninsula.
Good morning, everyone. Ryan Stern with the UP Regional Labor Federation.
Thanks, Ryan.
Hi there, this is Abby Hansen, and I am the Brownfield Redevelopment Coordinator with Eagle.
Great to see you, Abby.
Thanks, Ryan, you too.
Good morning. I'm Sue Roll with the
Right.
Upper Peninsula Arts and Culture Alliance. The Boniface Arts Center listing is old news.
All right, is there anyone else I missed, or actually I got state partners next. You haven't announced yourself yet.
Yep. Hey, Ryan. Good morning. Vince Bevins with the Michigan Department of Transportation.
Hey, good morning, Vince. Glad to have you. All right.
Holly
Anybody
Toma
else?
with
Anybody I
the,
missed?
Holly Toma with USDA Rural Development. Good morning.
Good to have you, Holly.
Are we still in intro?
Oh, I'm sorry, I cannot hear you. You're a little bit quiet.
Any better?
Yep. It looks like
Oh.
Jerry.
I don't know if we're still in intros. Yeah, it's Jerry at Whooper. I had joined from the Teams link at first and then found this one. So thanks.
Oh, shoot, I hate it when that happens.
I know.
All right, did we miss anybody, or does that do it?
Good morning, everyone. Brian Cervello, CT Director at the Market Algerisa.
Good morning, everyone. David Ola with the private sector. I want to say a special hello to Adrian Walker. Great to see you today.
Good to see you too.
Thanks, Dave. And I think that does it. So thank you for the lengthy introductions there. I thought it was pretty necessary though, so we all know who's attending here today, and especially for our guest speaker coming up here. So May, you are up next. So May has been working with Partridge Creek Farm, and I believe you have the option to share, May. Share your screen here. Stop my share though, I think.
Cool. Good morning, everyone.
Partridge Creek Farm has been getting a lot of attention lately, and they're a recent recipient of the Michigan Department of Agriculture Rural Development Fund Grant, and we're really proud of them. And they're playing a huge role in things going on in Ishpeming. Also, the city is a finalist in the EPA. Oh, I forget the name of the program there. Maybe Craig can remind me what it's called.
I don't remember, but Craig might.
And so, Partridge Creek Farm had a major role in helping put that together, and we're excited to see where that program goes. So, May, if you want to take from here.
Yeah, and sorry, I'll chime in. It's the RERC, so Regional Economic Recreational Communities. It's a long name for a lot of stuff, but it's basically a recreational grant to support the downtown development and recreational / economy planning for a small community.
That's great. Thank you.
All right. I shared my screen. Can everybody see it? It should be a Google Slides sheet. Can everybody see it?
Yep.
Great. This is my first time presenting online to a split in-person online. So please bear with me. I'll do my very best, and I'll make sure we have plenty of times for question, and then I have some discussion to work through. But good morning, everyone. My name is May, and I'm thrilled to be here with you. I had no idea what an amazing lineup of people, of humans are on this in this group today. I know some of you, and to those I know, it's great to see you. And those I do not know yet, I hope to know you sometime in the future. Ryan, thank you for that introduction. Again, my name is May, and I am the Director of Programs and Partnerships for an organization called Partridge Creek Farm. Let's see. There we go. I love to start out every presentation with just really talking about how food, growing food, tasting food, eating food is a part of all of our lives. And it goes beyond just when we visit the grocery store, visit the farmer's market. It really brings us and connects us as human beings and builds community. However, since we have kind of a split situation today, I am going to pass this up. but hopefully, again, I get to talk to some of you in the future and we get to share our food memories. So I'm going to get into this presentation today is going to be the who, the what, and then I promise you I will get to the why of why this conversation is so important to the work that you all are doing around the economy. And then again, we're going to end with a little discussion. So just to start out with, my name is May. I was a resident of Chicago for 13 years, where I was a science teacher for 7, the dean of students at a high-performing charter school that served 95% students that were qualified for free or reduced lunch, and that came into our school on an average of 4 points below grade level, or 4 grade levels behind. I really cut my teeth on teaching kids, and they are my passion. And through that work, I realized that education equity is a beautiful thing, but even more foundational than that is food equity. If we don't have good food and access to it, and have secure food systems in our communities, then so many other things will not fall into place. Education won't fall into place, economy won't fall into place. So much of it stands on the shoulders of having healthy food and healthy humans. So fast forward a little bit, I saw this in my community in Chicago, and so I co-founded an organization called Gardeneers, and Gardeneers specifically worked with students and youth in low-income areas and built school gardens and taught them how to grow their own food, work with each other. There was a lot of social emotional education and work, and how to really be stewards of the environment. And when I was at Gardeneers, I led the organization to serving 22 community schools. On average, we served 85% free reduced lunch, and about 2,200 students per week received this education. It was a really beautiful thing. And in 2019, I stepped down as the executive director, and some beautiful things happened, and I found my way to Ishpeming, Michigan. And I so serendipitously found the one place in the UP that had an organization called Partridge Creek Farm. And Partridge Creek Farm was founded in 2013, almost the same, a couple months after, before Gardeneers was founded, by Dan Perkins. And some of you might know Dan. He's a really good guy who's all over the Upper Peninsula. He owns a construction company and does roofs. And he was the founder, and really a lot of the energy behind getting Partridge Creek Farm off the ground. The last part of this who is really our community partners. And I just see Brian Cervello in our chat on my screen right now. So he's one of many, and Craig and so many amazing people that are not all listed here have been the tide that have lifted Partridge Creek Farm up over the last several years. And this climate we live in, this pandemic, this hopefully post-pandemic, a lot of people economically have suffered. And what we found at Partridge Creek Farm is that in this moment, our work and our organization has been thriving because the impact is so needed right now. People need to get back to food. They need to get back to community. And so we're seeing the requests for our work just going through the roof. And so hopefully with this beautiful net of supporters and partners, we can really, really work together to spread this work throughout Ishpeming, Marquette County, and the Upper Peninsula. So that's a lot of the who. I'm going to show you a quick video that'll cut to the chase and really show you all the what. So hopefully you all can. I pause it just really quickly. Is the sound on that okay for everyone? Can I get a thumbs up? Cool. All right. So I'm going to play that now that this sounds good and open it.
Doing good and supporting each other. That's what human beings are good at. We're good at taking care of each other. That's why we've thrived, is because we can provide each other's needs as a community. And if we do that, if we focus on that in a deep way, I think we become fulfilled. we're using food as a platform, but it's much deeper than that. It's community taking care of it. It's each other and the children, the elders, and everybody in between, and providing a platform of support and community for all of us.
Partridge Creek Farm is a 501c3 nonprofit educational farm. It's actually currently made up of 5 downtown community gardens in Ishpeming. And those community gardens have a mix of raised garden beds, hugel mounds, perennial fruit orchards. Our goal is not to grow the most food as possible. Our goal is to teach the community how to grow food for themselves. If people learn how to grow their own food, they are much more excited to eat it and cook it and utilize it within their daily lives. Kind of our most visible program is the Farm to School program at the middle school, and we've been teaching 5th grade, and that is a weekly program in the fall and the spring, and we teach farm to school education. And so farm to school education focuses on nutrition, growing food and gardening, social emotional skills, and really creating stewards of the environment, because when kids grow their own food, when they learn about it and take care of it, they love it so much more. So the intergenerational farm is, it's the site of the former Bell Hospital in downtown Ishpeming. And it will be a space where the seniors from Jasper Light can work with the youth from the high school and middle school to grow food, and the community, there will be community workshops. It's gonna be, more than anything, a community space. And we wanna really tailor our programming to what the community wants.
All right, cool. Thanks for going along with me on that. And hopefully that shares a little bit more of what Partridge Creek Farm is. I'll get into it a little bit more now in specifics. Did I do that right? Nope. Hold on just a second. This is the part where I don't know what I'm doing. Can everybody see that okay now? Cool, okay.
Yep.
So I'll get into a little bit more of the background and specifics. So Partridge Creek Farm, like we said, was founded in 2013 by Dan. For the last 7 years, it's been very volunteer run. We had a budget below $70,000. And again, in the last 2 years since the pandemic hit, the need for the work has increased so exponentially. And so we've tried to increase with it. So the vision of Partridge Creek Farm, just to give you the actual kind of idea and hope for it, is that we're a community that grows food, and everyone in the community has access to equitable, culturally relevant, and nutritious food choices. So if you've heard the language food sovereignty, this means that you actually can choose what you eat. You can choose your heritage. If you have a specific heritage, you can choose food that is culturally relevant to you. You can choose fresh food. So it's not just what's available in the closest convenience store. It's accessing the fresh choices that you want as a community. And we're doing this through education, through food and wellness education, really to build a healthy and prosperous community. So just some impact. So really, in 2021, we had a growing impactful year. And some of our programs, I'll talk a little bit more specifically about, but we did it through the help of a deep partnership with NMU. We have AmeriCorps Vistas every summer to extend. We are building beds in people's yards called resiliency garden beds. In our 5 community gardens, we grew and distributed over 2,600 pounds of fresh food. We did that through donations, through the community coming and volunteering in the garden and us giving it to them during community days. And we also have a couple of programs that are really, really unique. We work with youth in addiction recovery at GLRC. And we also pick up all of the pre-consumer food waste at NMU and local restaurants. And last year we diverted over almost 13,000 gallons of food waste. And the reason I'm telling you this is because this is a really important part of our program that helps build revenue generating streams, because we turn this into soil and vermicompost that we then use in our gardens and that we sell as well. So growing impact, love these pictures. We cooked with kids last year. One of the really fun things, we just finished our cooking program. So our 5th and 6th graders participated in 6 weeks of cooking where they learned cooking skills. And then the last week they had a cook-off, and we had a bunch of panels of judges, and the winning recipe had to use at least 2 local vegetables. And that recipe, the winning recipe from every class, went into the rotation in the school cafeteria. So encouraging the cafeteria now to use local ingredients from local farmers and local food distributors to integrate healthy recipes in the cafeteria. This is our summer program. We do a summer farm to school camp. And again, I already explained farm to school, building the raised beds in people's yards. This year, we're also going to have a CSA that residents who qualify for SNAP EBT will be able to access. We have community education days where we teach cooking demos and we give fresh food away in exchange. And something I'm really, really excited about is we're also building out tours and trainings. So for one of our revenue streams, we're going to be able to offer tours for sliding scale prices and trainings for how to build community gardens and how to build farm to school programs in other communities as well. And this has not been talked about too much, but we also have a ton of innovative ag programs happening. We're working with an ArcGIS team. We have a bunch of interns. We're working with people from big organizations like Oracle to build ag solutions so that we can grow and our community can access healthy food 12 months a year. Why that's innovative? Because as all of you know, the UP has a very small growing season. So being able to come up with solutions to access food full year is going to be a game changer. So that leads us to the future of Partridge Creek Farm and where we are right now. And I'm so excited to, and this was hinted in that video I just showed you, but the former Bell Hospital is a brownfield site that is next to the high school, middle school. Han Development received the property about 5 years ago, right after it was torn down, the hospital, and they've recently built a subsidized senior housing facility that takes over just over 2 acres of that space. The other 3.75 acres has been provided to Partridge Creek Farm in partnership with Ishpeming Public School District number 1. And we are building a community farm there. We, as Ryan referenced, received the MDARD Rural Development Grant this year, and we'll be breaking ground on that space. And over the next 3 to 5 years, really building it out into something spectacular. The space is going to have tons of integrated, innovative solutions for growing food and building community. And I'm excited to tell more of you about that in a different time. But there's also a lot of programming that goes with that. That includes intergenerational programming with the students that are at the school and the residents at the senior housing facility. That includes building out a K through 12 farm to school curriculum. And that includes creating our future farmers as well through a CTE program in the high school. So we'll be creating an ag CTE program on this space as well. And hopefully innovating there as well and integrating some indoor agriculture solutions and really connecting with a lot of the stuff that's going on at NMU. We have so many beautiful things happening at NMU right now, as some of you might know. There's all kinds of sustainability programs like Shine. There's also some really cool things happening within the curriculum. So there's an indoor agriculture program that's going to be moving from an associate's to a bachelor's degree. We're one of the only programs in the country that has a medicinal medicine program, medicinal plant program. So all of these things really connect with what we're doing at the high school CTE program. And so exciting to build pipelines into careers and jobs so we can build our ag economy here in the UP. So just to give you some reference, this is downtown Ishpeming. This is City Hall, where the Star is. Partridge Creek Farm office is on Main Street, right across from our new Velodrome Coffee, which is an amazing cafe. And we have community gardens spread out. And then right here, this big spot right here, this is where the new farm is going to go. The school is right here, high school, middle school. We have a school garden right now, but this giant, beautiful 3.75 acre space is where we're going to be building this community farm. Here's the plans. It's evolved really far beyond this right now, but this is the very rough architecture that UPEA created for us a while ago. All right, so that's the what. That's so much. I am saving time for questions because I have till 10:50, so I'm going to finish up in about 5 minutes. But before I conclude my presentation, I would be remiss if I didn't lean into the why a little bit more. So I've told you the who, I've told you the what, but the why is really important. And so Ryan shared with me as part of the comprehensive economic development strategy, you do all have a goal around food security and food access. And I love that. I really love that. But I'm going to challenge you all to think a little deeper about more sustainable solutions. Your objectives right now, while are so admirable, really focus a lot on grocery stores, other people creating economic things within the community. So bringing in a grocery store, collaborating with local businesses and creating spaces. But what do we do? What happens when we actually invest in the people doing the work as opposed to providing just the infrastructure, the grocery stores and the spaces? What happens if we charge the residents and say, what do you want? Now you build it. And so I really do believe empowering the people to build these spaces and to grow their food will create a whole new level of economic opportunity within each of our communities. So more of the why, more of the Partridge Creek Farm why. And one of the reasons we really started at the education level and focusing on career technical education and creating jobs and creating students and a curriculum is that we know that starting with students, healthy preferences, healthy humans really can be stemmed from this sort of education. And there's a lot of, I could give you a list of data and papers and research that's been done on it. And I would be happy to provide anyone who's interested in that. And Partridge Creek Farm has been having really great results. One of the things I'm really proud of is the change in preference and the students trying new things. 73% of our students who tried a new vegetable, of that 55% liked it, right? And that's just going to grow the more they try. So that's one of the reasons why we do this. Why Ishpeming is why our city manager and our mayor and our public officials, our superintendent think this is a good thing is because we believe that having innovative programs like this will bring some of our students back to the district. Right now, only 66% of the students who live here attend school here. And we want to bring students back to our community and fill our schools with their voices. Additionally, kind of from a neighborhood perspective, the more community gardens we build, the more we build beautiful spaces and we fill the vacant, blighted spaces with beauty and opportunity. Additionally, the intergenerational approach is really vital. 21.1% of our population in Ishpeming is 65 or over. So it's not just about the students and the youth, although that's our most visible program right now. We really want to empower and bring in the seniors as well. And lastly, 18.8% based on a recent survey by Feeding America of the people who live in our zip code 49849 are considered food insecure. So don't always know where their next meal is going to come from. So why, again, leaning into food is we can increase our property values. There's data linked to decreased crime rates when blighted property is turned into green spaces. Not to mention the long-term health determinants of healthy food access. It creates longer lives, it creates healthier environments, healthier community, more jobs. So back to the economy piece, and this is the last slide, and hopefully the hook for you all is with the post-pandemic, and we're even seeing this in reports from the Ukraine right now, when hardships happen, infrastructure, distribution, it breaks down. In the UP, the food industry is a $1 billion industry alone. And currently 90% of our food comes from 3,000 miles or more away. So what happens when distribution breaks down? We put ourselves in a really vulnerable place. So to get ahead of that vulnerability and to make our community even more resilient than it already is, I believe one of the solutions to our stability is investing in our food system and our people and creating jobs and value within that. So I'm going to conclude there. We have about 8-9 minutes for questions. And I would love to hear from some of you, either questions, or I would love to ask all of you, turn it around you and see how programming or focuses on food systems and food education in your community could help lift it up economically. So gonna open it up for questions for me and also ask you to lean into that question of how could education and programming and work like this support your community. So thank you very much.
Thank you, May. And if anybody, Bill, I see you got your hand raised.
Hi, May. This is Bill Raymond. I'm the CEO here at UP Michigan Works. I noticed you talked about CTE. I know Brian's on the call. Just wondering about the prospect of, we're doing a lot of apprenticeships around the UP. And how could, you're talking about, getting people into farming. And I grew up on a small family farm, and those are disappearing all over the state. But you or Brian, how would you see apprenticeships fitting into getting people involved in your kinds of activity and building up kind of our economic base via that process? And because that's definitely a skilled trade of in some way, shape, or form. So be interested in your thoughts on that from both of you.
Sure. Yeah, thank you, Bill. I'll go ahead really quickly, and then I'll turn it over to Brian, because Brian is on our action planning committee. So he's been involved intimately in the work as well. So we had a beautiful farmer meeting at the beginning of the year where Partridge Creek Farm paid farmers for their time to come around and talk about what they needed. And so we paid farmers for their time. They shared what they needed in terms of growing the food industry. And so we have taken that to heart and are thinking about part of our programming. The CTE program is a 2-year 4-semester program for students, but we would really love to make it a 3-year, and that includes an internship, externship for students to get hands-on experience on farms. Not to mention, we will be providing a lot of hands-on experience just with the intergenerational farm that we're building. And I think, to be honest with you, it's connecting with farmers of all sorts across the UP and even into the lower peninsula to see if we can build a network of assets that we can provide internships and experienced people for. The school I taught at and was dean of students at, we had 100% college acceptance rate. And I know from firsthand experience, college is not always the best or right path for youth. Sometimes it is field of skill like farming. And so we're really proud to be able to start to think about providing opportunities like that. And Brian, I'm going to pass it over to you to see if you want to add anything.
Sure. As we all know, agriculture in our state is a multi-billion-dollar industry, so incredibly important to all of us. And, I think one of the big misconceptions is people don't realize the vast array of career opportunities that exist within agriculture. We're not just talking about being farmers. We're talking about, food distribution,
Right.
logistics, preparation, all of those types of things. So, as a former building principal, I can tell you, we have a very strong focus right now on the social and emotional health of our students coming out of COVID. And I can relate multiple stories from Ishpeming Middle School and the principal there, how students, even on their worst days, when it comes time for this class, their face will just light up, right? So it's something that's of great value to our students. The other thing, I think the hidden value here is we've seen tremendous success in linking CTE with core academics. So we're really looking at leveraging this program to really increase, especially our science education and achievement there. So really excited in this partnership, really excited, of course, to have NMU in our backyard and the growing opportunities that exist in medicinal plant and the cannabis industry, those types of things. It's something we can't ignore. And, if we're really serious about preparing our kids for their future, that's their future. So great opportunities for our students. And Bill, exactly, we would love to see a number of those students move into our youth apprenticeship opportunities.
Yep. Yeah, because we have some goals about youth apprenticeships and working with the state out of Lansing. So May, I'll follow up with you and we can start digging into this, and same with Brian. We'll see what we might be able to dig into, and I'll get some of my other staff involved too. Can get into the details better than I can.
Great, thanks, Bill.
So, thanks.
Look forward to it.
Are there any other questions for me? Jen?
May I ask a question? It's Jen Tucker at Michigan Economic Development Corporation.
Hi, Jen.
Wondering, it's really cool to hear about the Han site being developed into a farm. And just out of curiosity, did you say that you have all of the funding that you need in place for that?
No, Brian's like, no. So we have received some really wonderful grants for planning. We received the Michigan Health Endowment Fund last year to do planning. So that's why we've spent the year really planning with the community, hearing the community's voice, working with the community, hear what they really want. We're taking that and we're kind of stepping into the next set of plans through some help with Superior Health Foundation. And I am working on some other funding to secure positions like a farm manager, a CTE program, a farm manager who also acts as the pilot CTE teacher, et cetera. And then we received the Rural Health Endowment, the Michigan, the MDARD Rural Development Grant. But that's going to get us the ability to break ground. We're going to put in water and sewer with that money, but we have a lot of funding to go still to build the full out infrastructure. So it's going to be a multi-million-dollar project, and we are, about 10% of the way there. So that's my charge over the next couple of years. So if any of you have ideas, thoughts, want to partner, want to be involved, I would love to hear from you. It's really about finding those partnerships and collaborating and creating something that, what more than anything, is not just for Ishpeming. It becomes a space where other communities across the entire UP can come, see the model, and understand how they can do this in their own community. And so that's why we're just the ones, trying to build the first one, but we really want it to be something that's for everyone and everybody can be involved with. So Jen, the answer to your question is no, we do not have it. That was a long answer, but I'd love to connect if you have any thoughts on that.
Hey, Jen.
Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna do your contact here. Yeah, Craig.
Hey, so this is a belief from the city that this is just a stepping stone into a lot of economic development and educational development programs. So May's been working this incrementally in order to keep the markers moving down the field. But right now, we see this as potential stepping stones to growing maybe co-ops in our downtown development, or improving produce and shopping capabilities locally, as well as potentially packaging, shipping, and other economic drivers for year-round farming. So it's just a stepping stone, and she's working incrementally, but as we move forward, we expect this to expand in many different capacities from the economic side of things, and it is tied to our recreational planning as we are trying to link it to our trail systems, trail networks, so that you can ride a bike, horse, snow machine, ATV, and whatever else along our trail system, stop off at a farm and have a learning and educational experience, and then continue moving along your trail system, as well as stopping off and hitting our economic drivers in town. So lots of potential here. Great partnership between PCF and the city of Ishpeming and others, specifically educational others, to make this a much bigger and elaborate economic driver than is being expressed here. The forward thinking is occurring, but we are also trying to be realistic in our current operational planning and efforts.
Thanks, Craig. I just got a message from Joe. Thanks, Joe. He was mentioning to me about food waste, and I did want to just really, really quickly plug that Partridge Creek Farm does have a really awesome composting program right now, and Alex knows about that. And we are talking to NMU right now, and are potentially working with EGLE to get a big biodigester here in Ishpeming. We will then be able to pick up all of NMU's pre and post consumer food waste. And NMU is the largest food organization in the UP, food user, single food entity. And so if we can get the infrastructure for that and really work within creating revenue and an economic opportunity around waste, we'll be able to pick up anybody's waste in Marquette County for compost waste, that is. And that's a huge, huge economic opportunity as well. So thanks for bringing that up, Joe. That food waste is a huge economic opportunity that we're having our toes are dipping into, and we really want to engage more in that as well. I didn't even really talk about that much.
That's wonderful, May. Thank you. I was stating it from that perspective of composting, and also, with micro farming like you're doing, the waste is significantly less because it's the distribution time. And so I just mentioned that because I noticed that too in the numbers when we talked about it in some other programs. And we do have a client also who's doing recovery. Ugly Pops is you may have seen in town. They're recovering fruits and vegetables and turning them into popsicles and fruit funds, that kind of thing. So anything, any of those conversations that we're having on that side, we can support that. We've got some conversations going around that with some other clients for the biodigestion and composting and mulch. Ryan and that group. So when that comes about, I'd love to be involved in those parts of the meetings.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah, and the city is supporting that permitting process and zoning process as well at the moment to help make that a viable effort within the city.
So I told Ryan I'd only
All right,
take
do we
10.
have a last question? Sorry. Do we have a last question for May?
Up there.
One?
All right.
Yeah. Don't have one in chat. Anyone on the phone have a last question for May? Go ahead, Alex.
I just had a comment. May, you are such a gift to the UP. We need more people like you up here. Thank you for everything that you're doing with Partridge Creek Farm and just creating a model for all of us throughout the Upper Peninsula. And to reflect back on a few years back, meeting with Dan for the first time and him playing me a song on his guitar and wondering who is this crazy guy, to seeing what you guys have all done together is phenomenal, and just keep up the good work.
I appreciate that.
Entrepreneurs.
I appreciate all of you, and please connect with me. I am going to pop off because I have another meeting. So I won't be on for the remainder of the meeting. So enjoy the rest of your meeting. I really, really, really hope that I get to speak with some of you in the future, and we can work together and we can build economy around a local food system that lifts us up in so many different ways. I think that are even yet to be discovered right now. So thank you very much, and have a great day. Talk to you all soon. Happy spring.
Thank you, May.
Thanks.
You may. I'll echo everyone else. That was a wonderful presentation from May. You know, I think it's a model that is absolutely scalable to any of our communities here. And it's really nice. I was just taking notes that it really hits on so many of our values and our goals that we have among this group. I listed adaptive reuse of vacant space, downtown revitalization, placemaking, enhancing the local food economy, equity and inclusion, public engagement, sustainability and resiliency, creating a talent pipeline, quality of life and livability, and waste reduction, and probably more than that. So this is really a key project here, and I'd love it if we could continue to engage May and learn more about this model.
Do we have May's contact information?
I will make sure we get it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Great. Thanks.
All right, and I noticed we had some joiners since the beginning when we did introductions. If anyone who joined since then that did not get introduced would like to announce themselves, they may do so now.
I'm sorry I was late. I'm Irina Bruno from the Boniface Arts Center in Escanaba, and I had a meeting before that, so I had to join late, but I caught the tail end of May's presentation and sounds very exciting. We try to do stuff with MSU Extension with 4-H that engages kids in the farm-to-table cooking classes. So we try to do some on our end, and it was very interesting to hear what they're doing. Thank you.
Which organization are you with?
The Boniface Arts Center.
Boniface. Sure, thanks, yeah. Good.
Glad to have you, Irina, no problem. Anybody else? Okay, well, I'm gonna move on to back to my presentation. All right, so EDA investment programs and CEDS. So I just have a quick announcement that when applying for grant on grants.gov, you normally have a DUNS number that you put in. Well, they're switching, all of grants.gov is now switching over to this unique identity number, and they're implementing that starting April 1st. They're taking the whole system offline, and as of April 1st, April 4th, they're going to have new forms that request that unique identity number. So I'm not quite sure how long the process takes to get this ID, but if you're looking to submit a grant, any applications that you currently have need to be submitted by the 31st. Otherwise, you'll have to wait until after that to use that new number in the new forms. So just wanted to throw that out there for your awareness.
That'll be a unique number for current DUNS numbers holders?
Yeah, so DUNS is going away,
Okay.
and unique identity number is replacing it. Programs that are open right now from the USEDA, ARPA funding is still out there. The EDA originally received $3 billion in 2001 and went through a number of programs. Most of those are, I shouldn't say most, some of those programs have, the funding has been depleted in those travel, tourism, and outdoor recreation, Build Back Better, I think, and the Good Jobs Challenge. Those have closed by now. Economic adjustment assistance is still open. There's a suggested deadline of that by the 31st. So that's coming up really quick. So economic adjustment assistance is kind of the main program that EDA has for, it's very flexible. It can be technical assistance, planning, but primarily it's for construction and economic development of infrastructure and facilities. The minimum for that is $100,000, and with all of the ARPA funds, there's an 80% match due to the pandemic, the federal match, and normally it's you know, a 50% match or up to 80, depending on the community's level of distress. You know, so if you have a high 24-month unemployment or a low low per capita income, then that kind of judges where your match might be. But for ARPA, it's 80% for all programs. And these are just starting to wind down here, so they're getting more competitive over time. So I mentioned $100,000 is the minimum, and you know, it's up to about $2 million. I mean, the cap is higher than that, but you get a lot less competitive the more that you ask for. And the more money you bring to the table too, it also enhances your competitiveness. So key criteria, there's more than this, but key criteria that you want to include for a project is the ability to realistically achieve and catalyze additional resources, the ability to start a project and create jobs quickly, and the extent to which the project will enable the region to become more diversified and economically prosperous. So in addition to that EAA, under the same program, there's a set aside for coal communities. And what that means is communities that had a coal-fired power plant at some point in the near future, and it has closed. So there's additional funding that's out there for any of those communities under this same program. So Escanaba and Marquette particularly are eligible for that. So I'd encourage those communities to consider some possibilities under this. It's an 80% grant match, and that's pretty great. Too quickly with my mouse. There we go. Also a set aside under that EAA is the indigenous communities set aside. So that is for all sorts of things that an indigenous community might need: construction assistance, planning. technical assistance, anything like that. Again, it's a minimum of 100,000, and basically matches what the EA program is. And then the last one that I have to share with you here is the fiscal year 2021 through 2023 Planning and Local Technical Assistance Program. It's a rolling deadline. So I mentioned in the EAA program that, planning and technical assistance is possible, but this is a more appropriate funding stream for it. So you're going to be more competitive in this category than you are in the other. However, it's a 50% federal match for that. It's not under the ARPA program. So it's up to $300,000 that you're able to apply for. And it can be up to an 80% match depending on your community's level of distress. So I'd also throw out there that the UPCBC, led by Invest UP and Michigan Works, is applying for the labor market study under that program, and we're expecting to submit the application by Thursday. So potentially having some funding, some additional funding to support that labor market study for the entire UP. And so if you'd like to kind of keep aware of the EDA programs that are coming out, we'll always update you on what the programs are at the CEDS meetings. But if you would like to, they have this webpage here, eda.gov/funding-opportunities, and that will keep you updated on their new programs coming out. So a few things to consider when you're applying for those. You want to read the Notice of Funding Opportunity, or the NOFO as we call it, for the program that you're applying for. So I'm going to stop my share real quick and just show you what grants.gov looks like in case you're not familiar with it. Okay, here's grants.gov. So if you were to type in EDA in the search, all these programs come up. So right here we have the EAA program, and then local technical assistance is right down here. So I'm just going to go to this one and show you where the NOFO is. It pops up under related documents, and then you can download the NOFO. You can also look at the package of what the applications are. There's a non-construction application, there's a construction application, a revolving loan fund application, and design and engineering only. So if I were going to apply for it, I'd have to first log in, and then I'd be able to hit the apply button, and it would take you to a workspace where you're able to apply for this. I believe you have to set up the workspace, and if you need help with that, then we can talk our way through it, but that's a little technical for this conversation here. So back to this. Okay, so begin planning for that EDA investment early on in the planning stages. That's important so we can get out ahead of any challenges. Sometimes, it takes a while to, gather all the necessary information, all of the letters of support and things like that. But we need to know, does the project address one or more of EDA's priorities? And I'll have that posted on the next page, on the following pages here. But those priorities are administrative priorities, and they change every so often. But it's always good to hit one or more of those priorities. Second, is the project going to be consistent with the Central UP CEDS? If you have a particular project it's always good to have it listed in the CEDS, but it's not totally necessary. So we have a goals and objectives section, and we also have kind of generally outlined types of projects that we would support. And so there are a number of ways to make that connection. EDA will not cover housing projects, and there's no exceptions. I've asked many times, and, but you know, if there's a component of housing to a project, you know, you have to only apply for the portion that is not housing. Land ownership is something that that needs to be addressed. It must be public or owned by a nonprofit entity. So that's a key thing. You know, employers can't, you know, apply for this funding. Or rather, private sector can't apply for this. You know, what private sector support does the project have? Those letters of support are great. Money is even better. So that's an important thing to figure out prior to applying. Projects must not specifically benefit a single employer. So even if it's a great project, infrastructure that you know can support industry, if it's only benefiting a single employer, then that's not something that they would fund. Projects must be competitively procured following the federal policy. If it's over $250,000, we need to obtain 3 quotes. And if it's under, we need to do that. And if it's over, they must be competitively bid. Architecture and engineering is eligible, but that has to be competitively bid as well. So if you're thinking about that, you know, it's especially important to get thinking about this early. And what is the applicant's capacity to administer a project? You know, nonprofits have a hard time because, you know, if they're new and don't have, you know, they only have a board and they don't have full-time staff. That's a capacity issue, and especially if they've never managed federal grants before, that's a challenge. And here are the EDA priorities. I'm not going to explain them all to you, but equity, recovery and resilience, workforce development, manufacturing, technology-based economic development, environmentally sustainable development, and exports and federal direct investment are those priorities, and they change over time too. So I'm going to send this presentation out to all of you after this, and you can have a look at that. So like I said, in concurrence with the CEDS is very important. QPAD will write you a letter of concurrence that says specifically how your application relates to the CEDS. And we do that a number of ways. We can do it through the goals and objectives, which are updated every 3 years. And they fall into these buckets like resiliency, talented workforce, infrastructure, education, vibrant and healthy communities, and safe and efficient transportation. We also have a section called priority responsive projects, and those are the projects that are specifically listed out. So if you've ever shared a project priority from your community or your organization, it's a short description. We like to include, you know, any funding that you may have already for it, or you know, estimates of how much it's going to cost and when. That's great. You know, you can submit those to me anytime, and we'll consider them for inclusion quarterly in the document. Also, we have this section called the steady state priorities, and it's priority concepts that are mentioned kind of generally, and not specific to any particular location. Anybody have any questions about any of that? A lot of information to digest, but I'd be happy to talk to you offline about how to apply for it, and yeah, just reach out to me. Okay, so we're going to switch gears now, and I'm really happy to report that the Recovery and Resiliency Strategy, which is one of 6 strategies that we're producing, is now complete. We just held the implementation meeting where we got a bunch of stakeholders together who have been either on the steering committee for developing the document or who have been part of the roundtable or interviews for this document, and trying to figure out how we can start moving the project forward in the next 30, 60, and 90 days. And so it's been, we've made great progress on it, and come up with a number of action items that are already in the works. So really proud of this document and the community that came together to build it. It was a tremendous effort. So I just wanted to show you, and actually for people here, I have a hard copy of the document, but for those of you who are online, let's stop my share and restart it. So we received CARES Act funding in 2001 to develop a regional economic and resiliency strategy. But as most of you know, at that time, we were just producing the CEDS, and we had a number of resiliency topics in that already. So I didn't want to be duplicative, and thought we might be able to get more value out of that by going county by county and developing individual economic recovery and resiliency strategies that together would all become our regional, an annex to our regional sets. So that's the approach we took. Marquette County was the pilot for that program. We worked with TIP Strategies, an organization out of Austin, Texas, that helped us in developing the document. And this is what we came up with here. So here's our stakeholder committee that we have. We started this out by identifying the challenges that are going on in the community, what our competitive position is. We found that outdoor recreation was a huge interest from across all of our stakeholders, and the seasonality, our strengths and weaknesses with industry. We did a SWOT analysis, and then really the most important thing is that we came up with this strategic framework that was very action-oriented around these 5 goals: innovation and entrepreneurship, talent attraction, workforce development, infrastructure and sites, quality of place, and regional positioning and market. And the strategies got very specific here. And they even get more specific as we get into the implementation plan, which is not part of this document. It's a standalone spreadsheet that we're just finishing putting together. But it's, it's action-oriented, it's time-bound, and addresses who the responsible parties are. So Christopher will like that.
Thank you. Thank you for clarifying there's another document. It was hurting me a little.
So that went really well. And then we have some appendices here that also drill down a little bit more into the industries of importance and how things are doing that with that. health and medical and well-being, advanced services, and transitioning natural resources are a few. So the plan is to begin doing this with all of the other counties. We started with Dickinson County. We've held 3 meetings with them. Delta County, 1 meeting with them, and then next we're looking to work with Alger County and then Schoolcraft and Menominee on executing those. So I'm anticipating over the next 8 months or so finishing all of this. So does anybody have any questions about any of this?
Ryan, was there anything in the Marquette pilot that you guys went into this thinking you were going to do and you tried it and you're like, this is crazy and it didn't work?
You know, I can't think of anything. I mean, the most radical thing that we had on there was industrialized hemp, and then we found it's not really that radical. You know, it's, you know, there's a lot of possibilities for it, and advanced materials, and yeah, that's as out there as we got, but it's not that out there. So
cool. What's the plan for implementation? Like, I know you have the other document. Is there like a core steering team to check that off?
That's the plan. Yep.
Cool.
So we'll check in with people as we start making progress on it, and then we'll move on to those later action items and continue generating more. It's supposed to be a living document.
Cool.
And so we'll continue making progress on this.
Yeah, this is great. I love like the length of this. This is very readable, which is awesome.
Yeah. Yep. And so this is going to be a template too. We have all of this that we're able to drop our content into for the rest of the communities too. So they're going to look like this, nice and polished.
Yeah. Did you see Jen type a question into the chat?
I did not.
Copies, I think. This is very sensitive.
I'm using 2 screens here, so this is a little bit challenging. Oh, Jen said, could you please repeat how to get hard copies of the Marquette County report? And I will print those off for you if you have a need for those. If you'd like more than a few copies, we can talk offline about it and figure out how to get some more of those. So, thanks, Jen. Are there any other questions?
This is super cool, dude.
Okay. You can react to the presentation. All right, that takes us to proposed meeting schedule. So these are ideas that I have for meeting dates, and I just wanted to bounce them off you to see, you know, is there anything that I'm kind of stepping into here, any big events that you know of that are happening on any of these dates, or is this generally okay? And I'm just looking for consensus on it.
This is the first one, the day after July. You just be able to look at that. People are on vacation still.
Right.
Yeah. I wasn't seeing anything.
Okay.
Hey, Ryan, this is Ed. I don't see anything that's a major conflict with any of these, you know, on first glance.
Great. Yeah, I didn't want to step on anybody's local meetings too. So
I think it's Memorial Day. Not that it's a big deal, but
yeah, Monday is Memorial Day. Monday, the 30th of May is, yeah.
people will probably think
September 27, I think there's a CDC meeting. Well, that may be an old thing too, because we've changed. I wouldn't worry about that.
Okay.
probably. I mean, people take Memorial Day off.
My calendars are all screwed up because of the pandemic.
Right. It's like, good luck trying to look out this far.
Yeah,
Right?
and then I have a fifth meeting, even though we're quarterly, just in case, you know, something happens. You know, and we have to cancel one of these meetings to get for the CEDS. So, I believe we got a couple more questions. Yep, Kathy asked, the Scanaba meeting is at the Michigan Works office. Yes, it is. In the boardroom there. Holly asked the same thing. Yep, good. All right. So if that is good, then I'll slate it in and make calls.
Good.
All right, and that's it. So how much time do we have left here? About 6 minutes. So does anybody have any news on regional development, any upcoming trainings, anything relevant that they'd like to share? And I'll start with in the live session.
I don't have my end.
All right.
I can, through the MEDC, we've received or are anticipating receiving some funding for trainings across the UP. We've been working with Michigan Tech, NMU, Bay College, and Gogebic College to provide short-term skill trainings. And so each institution will host their own skills training that is largely based on local industry in-demand occupations and input from local employers. So these trainings we are hoping to start this summer, and they'll run summer through the fall, and hopefully maybe early 23. So those announcements will be coming out soon. They will be offered free to the public. And then the institutions will be reimbursed through the grant. And the theme of the trainings, the overall overarching theme is mechatronics. So they are skills needed within under that umbrella. So that's about as much as I can tell you right now, but more will be coming out soon. We're looking to get, of course, the focus population for these trainings is going to be the low to moderate income individuals and families. And they also have to have a high school diploma or GED to process through those trainings. So again, more will be coming, but that's a pretty tremendous opportunity that we have. And overall, the full grant ask was $950,000. So we're splitting that between the 4 institutions. So it'll be some considerable training in a short amount of time.
That's really great. So I'm thinking public transportation would be something important to consider for that. Is there any plans for that, or can we?
I've not talked about it, but now is a good time to talk about it. So I will ask about that.
Okay. Anything we can do to help kind of coordinate any of that, we're happy to do it.
The funding source is community development block grants funding. So we're navigating that, but I'll ask about that. That's a pretty important piece of it.
Yep. Anybody on the virtual audience have anything they want to share?
Yeah, Ryan, this is Brian Cervello. Just real quickly, Bill mentioned this earlier, but hats off to Bill Raymond and his UP Michigan Works team for securing last year's state apprenticeship expansion grant. That's allowing us to pair our UP high school students with employers in their own backyard and providing our UP employers, with a great opportunity to build strong relationships with our young talent while they're still in high school, so we can retain that young talent in the UP. Personally, I'm on my 7th consecutive business day of a local employer reaching out to me, desiring to set up an apprenticeship program at their workplace. So the response from our employers has been phenomenal, as well as our educational community. And I'm really grateful, to our State Department of Labor and Economic Opportunity for entrusting the UP with this opportunity to develop this model of high school youth apprenticeship for our entire state. It's allowing us to make grade 12 what it was always meant to be, a transitional year for our students to their next step of life, rather than what it currently is for far too many of our students. That's just a year of stagnation. Quite possibly the industry that'll benefit quickest will be childcare, and that's huge. We all recognize the drag on our economy the lack of childcare availability and affordability has created. Youth apprenticeships, especially high school youth apprenticeships, are not only going to provide a small army of childcare workers within a matter of months, but more importantly, the opportunity to grow our own early childhood educators within 2 years. And we're opening our first Future Educators program in West Marquette County in the fall, and hoping to do so in Eldred County as well. So hats off again to UP Michigan Works.
That's awesome. Thank you, Brian, and thank you, Bill.
Sue Roll here. I want to.
Kind of on
I
that
want
note.
Sorry, Brian.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I have two things to announce. The Upper Peninsula Arts and Cultural Alliance is starting an economic impact study coordinated through Americans for the Arts. We will, starting in May, be attending arts and culture events throughout the Upper Peninsula, trying to interview, well, not trying, we'll be interviewing audience attendees, mostly about the money they've spent to be at the event and to come to it. We'll be doing that for the next year, starting in May, hoping to be able to put some numbers to a concept we all agree with. Yes, arts and culture brings money into the area, but maybe we'll get an idea of how much. So for those of you who might know of arts and culture events happening in your area, please let me know what they are. And they can be free, they can be ticketed, just things that bring in people. We have to generate over 800 surveys in the next 12 months to make this work. And a second thing to know is in the months of May and June, the Alliance is going to be doing State of Michigan Arts and Culture grant workshops throughout the central UP, our 6 counties. And I'll be contacting folks to see if we can set up venues and locations for that. But it's for artists, it's for nonprofits, it's for municipalities, it includes school systems, but they're capital grants, operating grants, individual arts and education grants, and a variety of other things. So you're looking at a 2-hour workshop to get a clue about what's going on in the state and where we can get some free money for arts and culture for the UP.
Hey, Sue, this is Craig Genie from Ishpeming. Are you already including the Thursday night concert series that happens in Ishpeming? And I think Marquette has some once a week shutdown of a street for music that occurs. Karen or somebody will have to talk to what the naming is and whatnot, but every Thursday night in the summer, we shut down a section of our town that has a free concert. So I don't know if that's in your scope there or not. And then,
that's absolutely in the scope. Thank you. I'll make a note of that. Absolutely.
We'd certainly be interested in hearing about your workshops and trying to figure out how to work on the grant opportunities for arts and culture.
Okay, cool. Thank you. The concert series is perfect, as well as I'll see if I can get an email out through Ryan about what the grant workshops will look like.
Thank you. And we're at 11:30 right now, so I just want to thank everybody who attended here and really appreciate all the feedback and your participation in this. And so really looking forward to the next meetings we have here. I'm going to send out a calendar invite for all the future dates, and we'll see you then. But if we want to continue sharing anything, people can stay on and share any of that. But if you have to go, I understand. So thank you.
Nice job, Ryan.
Thanks, Ryan.
Yeah, thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.
I was telling Michelle that with these meetings, sometimes, and I don't mean this as a criticism, but you look at the agenda or the, what's going on, you think, well, is that really relevant? But then I get on them and it's like, I'm glad I didn't miss this, because there's always so much richness in there. Like just hearing what May has to offer and all those interconnections, it's just like, yeah, I'm continuously pleasantly surprised with just the interconnections we have and the opportunities we have.
Absolutely.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really glad you had May. She's such a great presenter. Mhm.
You work with May, Chris?
I've seen her present in Ishpeming. I saw her present at Ishpeming. I've never worked with her directly, but super impressed by the work she's doing.
Yeah, good.
Like, super cool.
Yeah, I think there might be some opportunities for some